community, compliments of the new season. If you are new here, my name is Pemi and I'm so glad you're here. I'm really excited about this video because it's the first one of the year, and I intend for this video to set the tone because I've done a lot of thinking about my channel, and I've just also decided that this year I'm going to do things a little differently. I think that in order for me to hold my commitment to you and for you to also stop guessing about when the next video is coming up, I'm going to be releasing a video every month, at the end of every month. The purpose behind each of these videos is for me to share something that I've either learned or that I think will really help impact your life, and you need to go apply it. You need to, investigate it for yourself. You need to see if what you've learned can help you in a meaningful way, and that is not something that I think one can do in a week. That's why I can't have weekly videos. My videos, as you already know, are geared at learning and becoming our best selves and unpacking really tough emotions and just becoming the highest expression of ourselves. And I think in order for us to do that, we need to give ourselves time to unlearn what we currently have in place, and also time to learn and build new habits and build new thinking patterns. So I think a video every month is something that I could definitely commit to, and I think it's a reasonable timeline for us to implement what we have learned in each video. So if you agree with this, please comment below, tell me your thoughts, tell me if you think a video a month is indeed good enough, and if you agree with my reasoning. If you don't, I'll die. I'm joking, but yes, that's what I'm committing to. And I've also just thought about how to make these videos just a little bit more valuable, and at the end of every video I will be sharing journal prompts that you can use to journal in your journals. So that's the intention, that's the new format, and with that, let's get started. Today's topic is how to move past the disappointment of not being able to achieve what you set out to achieve in a specific limited time. That's a very long title. It's not a very good title. The title of this video is New Year, Same Goals. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because, one, every year comes with New Year's resolutions, and I see people always doing new vision boards every year, and there's this constant like next, and sometimes your previous year wasn't the year you hoped it would be. Sometimes you don't accomplish all the goals you set out to accomplish, and a year might feel a bit disappointing. And coming into a new year and having to set new goals that will elevate you to the next level can feel a little bit daunting. But also sometimes, if you haven't gotten to the place where you thought you'd be, you might think, what's the point? So I thought, let us discuss how to move forward, or rather how to be able to hold space for our disappointment, and how to be able to get back onto the wagon when we've fallen off, or if our wagon hasn't moved. So the first thing that I wanted us to just unpack is basically the feelings we feel when we don't meet our own expectations. So one would think disappointment is the only thing you'd feel, but actually it's not. Disappointment is a very big feeling that one would feel, because the definition of disappointment literally is not meeting an expectation, or your expectations not being met. But we also can feel shame when we don't meet our own expectations. We can also feel jealousy towards other people who did meet their expectations, who did achieve their goals. And it's not coming from a place of malice, it's coming from a place of self-judgment. So we need to be conscious of how we are expressing and experiencing our disappointment outwardly. Do we experience our disappointment and then turn it into jealousy or envy, or are we shaming ourselves? And the problem with shame, and we've spoken about this in a previous video, is shame is debilitating because it stops you in your tracks. It focuses on who we are instead of the behavior that we want to change. So for example, we will say, well, I failed at, if you weren't feeling shame, if you were, thinking level-mindedly, you would say, I failed at X. But if you are shaming yourself, you would say, I am a failure. So that is you identifying yourself with failure instead of just being able to identify what you couldn't achieve. So that's why shame is such a debilitating feeling to feel, and it's important for us to notice when we're feeling it so that we can work our way out of that shame storm. Another feeling that we can feel is resentment. Now you might be thinking, resentment to who? Resentment towards yourself. I think it's so crazy how we take for granted just how important our relationship with ourselves is. We feel all of our emotions first within, then outward. So resentment, when you feel resentment, you can resent yourself for not being able to show up, for not being able to tick all the boxes, for not being able, to look at your vision board at the end of the year and be like, I did that, Sometimes you're not able to go back to that tweet with candles and say, well, here's the car. and it's important to know that our lives are moving in their own pace. Our lives do not move according to, a Gregorian calendar. Our lives are not designed to move according to the world's pace. I don't believe that every single person, who sets goals for 12 months will achieve those goals, because we're in different places in our lives. Sometimes you will work very hard and you will be disciplined, but what you wanted you still don't get, and that can be so disappointing, and that can make you feel like, well, then what's really the point? The point is you need to live in alignment with your life. You need to understand that when you are in alignment with your life, you are not moving at the world's pace. You are not moving according to a December calendar. Your life is moving as it should, and your milestones will come as they should when you are ready. There's a saying that I absolutely love: when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I believe that wholeheartedly, because I believe that when we live in alignment, we can never really attract what is not ours, and what is ours will not miss us. But when we're out of alignment, that's when we start bringing things into our space that we actually weren't supposed to. That's how wounds take longer to heal. That's how we start opening ourselves up to things that we actually shouldn't have. But we do, because we're not in alignment, because we're not focused on ourselves, on our path, on who we are, on becoming the highest and best expressions of ourselves. Instead, we have visions of other people that look more successful, that seem to have their lives down pat, and that is the model that we want to follow. But we forget that their path is not our path. So just because we're in a new year and you have the same goals, you think that makes you a failure? You think that's something to be disappointed about? No. Yes, it's a new year, but you are still you, and you are changing every single day. If you commit to learning something new every day, then you grow every day, so you change every day. you're not the same person you were a year ago. And I think that's also the disconnect. Sometimes when we don't achieve our goals, we think that we are the same people we were. We are at the same place we were, and that's not true. There's a great sense of awareness that comes when you sit down with yourself and you say, well, this is what I wanted to achieve last year. This is what I was able to do, and this is what I wasn't able to do. This is why. That's insight you didn't have a year ago. But because we think that output is the measure of worth, we take for granted that growth in awareness, growth in self-esteem, growth in confidence, growth in creativity, those are amazing. Those are worth celebrating. Those are things that had you not gone through the year, you wouldn't have. So all I want to say about this is, one, stagnancy is being at the same place, thinking the same way, doing the same thing. That's stagnancy. If you find yourself in the same circumstance, but your thinking has changed, your perspective has changed, the way you problem solve has changed, that's not stagnancy, that's growth. Because remember, growth happens in two ways, or rather change happens in two ways, either incrementally or radically. Some people experience radical change. Their lives change overnight. That's radical change. But there are also people who work bit by bit every day, building a channel, building your portfolio, building your skills bit by bit every day, until all those small changes make something help your life look completely different. Now, did your life look exactly the same? No, your life was changing, but it was changing incrementally and you couldn't see it. But once a lot of incremental change happens, then you can see the bigger change. But you have to be patient enough. You have to, want to continue. You need to have the motivation to continue. And you also need to give yourself grace. Oh, we need grace for ourselves. We offer other people so much more grace than we offer ourselves. We offer other people so much more praise than we offer ourselves. We need to get into the habit, especially this year, of sitting down and really noticing what about me is not the same as it was last month. How have I changed? How have I moved closer to my highest self? Because I also think the term highest self, and I have a series on Instagram about, that helps you just unpack who your highest self is. So if you're not following me, make sure you do, and then you can just have a look at that series, and I hope it helps you. So I don't want your higher self being this far-fetched person that you don't know, that can't recognize. We need to imagine our higher selves and start showing up as that person every day. And by that I mean you break it down. What does your higher self like to eat? How does your higher self like to move? What can your higher self do differently about this? There are so many small incremental changes that you can make that will bring you closer to the person you want to be, and you can live the life you want to live. So yes, it's a new year, and yes, you've got the same goals, but I'm going to share 4 tips on how to make those goals, how to help you achieve them this year. And you know what? I think it's also important for us to remember that there are certain things that are not meant for us. And if we are constantly chasing things that aren't ours, and we keep missing them, then we also need to listen to our lives. We need to listen when our lives tell us, this is not your path. This is, or shift, or pause. So here are my 4 tips just to help you achieve your goals, and also just to bring you into a little bit more of an alignment with your life. Tip number 1, routine. Listen, I will die saying this. If you don't have a routine, then you are living haphazardly and you are going to waste a lot of time and you won't know where that time is going. Routines don't only help decrease anxiety, but routines save time. They save brain power. When you get into a routine, there are certain decisions that become automated. There are things that you do that your body does for you. You know, the muscle memory just moves you. When you wake up, you start waking up at 6 o'clock every day, and your body already, it alerts you that it's time to move, it's time to stretch, it's time to run, it's time to exercise, it's time to do something. When you get into that habit, when you get into that routine, your life starts to flow with a little bit more ease. And that's where you want to be. You want to be wherever the ease is. So build routines. That's actually what routines do. Routines help create ease. And if you're not going to build a routine because it's the healthy thing to do, build routines because they make your life easier. They bring ease into your life. Number 2, prioritize joy. This is something that I am actually very passionate about, or my passion is growing by the day. I think we don't prioritize joy as much as we should. We prioritize productivity, we prioritize getting things done, we prioritize anything really that is accepted in the capitalist world. But what about things that feed your soul, things that make life worth living, things that renew your hope, things that keep you going, things that make you look forward to the next day? That's joy. Prioritize joy. Number 3, unplug more regularly. Now this is something that last year I took just a couple social media breaks, but this year my intention is to unplug more regularly. And I'm not just saying, oh, take social media breaks. I mean unplug more regularly. Don't wait 6 months and then, or 3 months. Find ways for you to just de-stimulate, because one of the reasons why unplugging and being offline is so important is because we are overstimulated. One of the causes of anxiety is overstimulation. When you have so many things that are gunning for your attention, you, 1, degrade the quality of your attention, but 2, you overload your system. We are seeing, hearing, talking, sharing. It's a lot, and it's on and on and on. So much that you can forget what the sound of your voice is. You can forget the sound of your own voice. You can forget what your thoughts are and confuse them with the thoughts of others because you're constantly consuming. You need to get to a place where you are able to just stop, be still, and recalibrate. Come back to your sense of stillness. Come back to your sense of being. Come back to you. And you can only do that really through solitude, silence, and stillness. The last tip that I want to share is be disciplined with one thing daily. Just one thing. One thing daily. Be disciplined with that. Be disciplined maybe with drinking water that day. The next day be disciplined with walking your 5,000 steps. The next day be disciplined with calling your mom when you said you will. Be disciplined with one thing daily. That is going to help you build discipline into your routine. Routine is going to help make life just a little bit easier. Unplugging is going to help you return to yourself and hear your own voice. Prioritizing joy is going to make life worth living. And those are my tips. we have reached the end of our video, and this is where I will be sharing journal prompts, and this is basically just going to help you reflect on this month and also set intentions for the next month. Okay, the first journal prompt is, this month has helped me ... You will complete the sentence. The second journal prompt is, I know I can. The third journal prompt is, I believe I need to. The fourth is, I am grateful for. And the last prompt is, next month I intend to. Those are your 5 journal prompts. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Click the bell so you don't miss out on any new videos this year. Like I said, new video every month. I'm holding myself accountable, and you can hold me accountable for that as well. I will see you again next month as we unpack a different topic and work towards being the best versions of ourselves. Bye bye.